Hiya folks, I thought I'd do one from the workshop because I've got a little job which will save me a lot of money, and anybody else who've got circular saws, table saws, chop saws, this little tool saves a lot of money. I've only needed to use it twice so far, but I now need to use it again. I'll just show you what I'm doing. Spin you round. Alright, I've got to sharpen this table saw blade. I'm giving it a clean as well because I cut a lot of pine with this, and I've got a little project on doing some oak, and that's the results I'm getting on the oak. So it's well due for a sharpen. I've never sharpened it since I've owned it, and this blade is 4 years old. The other blade here I bought, this has obviously got more teeth, it's a cross cut. This is like a multi-purpose, but obviously when I say multi-purpose as in ripping down and cross-cutting, but it's not fantastic at either of them. It's okay, but if you keep it clean and sharp it will do a far better job. All I'm doing here is I've got a bit of Scotch Brite and just some white spirits or turpentine, because I cut a lot of pine. I've got a little brush as well. Because I cut a lot of pine, then white spirit or turpentine will clean the resin off. So I'm going to do that first, and then I'll show you what this little tool will do. Now you've got to consider, when I'm saying it'll save you money, I could go out and buy a new one of them. I'm not sure how much that blade costs. I know that one cost me 160 francs, which is the same as $160, yeah? So when you consider I've got those two blades, circular saw, which I've sharpened twice, fantastic, and that saw's nearly 20 years old. So, and a chop saw, that's a lot of dough you can save, because that cost 130 francs about 3 or 4 years ago. So I'll show you how it works. So that's a lot better. What I will say is if you're using something that is inflammable, right, this will spark, so make sure that there's nothing flammable or inflammable on it if you do this. I just said the other day, my youngest son were asking me about the lathe, so I just made this little carving maul, but that were a piece of rhododendron from garden. It's not perfect look, but I don't get to use the lathe much. Might have to get into using that more as well now. So guys, I'll just show you how this is set up. Obviously the saw, the saw goes on here, which it's all adjustable to the size of your saw blade, so you can bring it closer and far away from here. This has got a cone on it, so that it keeps your saw centralised, the blade centralised when you're sharpening it. Now this sets, the actual grinder sets at an angle. This one is about a 10-degree angle. Now as long as they're all the same on both sides, you're alright. Unless it's some sort a different kind of saw, and some saws do have it written the angle on, but this doesn't. So just have to be aware of that if it has, but this hasn't. But I've looked at it, it works out about 10 degrees. I've sort of lined it up to that, and my circular saw also, which is obviously a rip saw, multi-purpose saw blade, is a 10-degree angle. That all sets up here by adjusting this screw, and the pointer's on there if you can see. It's not very clear obviously because it's painted in, but you can set your angle up on that. Yeah. Tighten this guy down just so you can turn it. First thing is, it's only one side that saw you sharpening here, so I've marked that as my first tooth, yeah, and I'm sharpening on this side of the blade. This is a diamond blade. They're about 30 bucks, and this machine's paid for itself already for me when I sharpen this, and I've got a sharpened chop saw as well, so it's paid for twice probably. But you've got to do every second tooth, so I've marked that one. I'll go to the second tooth, that tooth, that tooth, and then I'll flip it and do. I'm just going to correct myself here. After you do that side at saw, or every other two teeth, you don't flip it. I'm saying you flip it, you don't. You actually reset the angle of the cutter to the opposite, which is actually about 5 degree on this blade, not 10. So all I've done here is adjusted this little stop It's just a simple Allen key and collar, and that just stops that from going travelling any further than it needs to cut the carbide teeth on it. Could possibly go a little bit deeper if you want to lower your neck, but these are alright at the minute. I don't need to cut that gullet, I don't think. Don't forget to follow all safety instructions. I am wearing the same safety glasses as Norm Abrahams. So this is a rip saw blade, like I said, or a multi-purpose rip saw cross cut. It's only 40 teeth. Other thing you've got to look at when setting this up, this is all adjustable here, yeah? It can go this way, and it spins this way and this way, and that also allows you to set up the rake of this cut. You want to be trying to follow where it comes in here at the saw. You can adjust this to bring that in so that when you come to there, there's no gap there, yeah? And I've just done a couple of tests on this. This saw is a little bit less of an angle, because these are usually between 5 and 10 degrees, being a rip blade, yeah? So I just took a couple of nicks off that and adjusted it till I were getting the full length of the tooth underneath here, actually, as well. That's a support. I don't know if you can see that, but that's a support what you can adjust up and down just to support edge of your saw so you don't pull it down and put you an odd cut on. Let's give it a blast, see how we go. That's one side. So let's give this a go. This is exactly the same stock as what I was cutting down that burnt. Yeah, it's about 18mm oak. So, and this has got a bit of knot in it. This is an offcut, and I'll take it from the non-knotted end, and just to see how it goes. It must be a lot better. It's lots better. There's a little bit of a burn on it, but it's getting me speed. These are for some Kumiko, although oak's not the best for it, but that's a lot better. It tends to burn there by that knot. That's where the knot is, you see. So that should do it. And now I've got to just do the chop saw, which I'll have to change the angle again. Just give this another blast. Yeah, it's burning on that where it changes grain. I'm not, so that's so much better. So that's the chop saw done. It was quicker to sharpen blade than it were to get blade off. Now I remember why I didn't do it before, but it's done and there's no burning there, and I cut through that knot as well. It's just a bit of old pine, but all the same it was pulling out a lot worse than that on back. I mean, they do tend to these anyway unless you put a zero clearance on back, but yes, paid for itself yet again. For anybody who is interested, that's it. That's what it is. Einhell, cheap make. Does the job. I'm very pleased. So don't forget, thumbs up if it saves you some money, thumbs up if it might save you some money, and a thumbs down if you don't care. Nice to be nice.